Opera is often described as the ultimate fusion of music.
Sabrosura pa' ti que qué.
Opera is often described as the ultimate fusion of music, drama, and art. It originated in Italy during the late 16th century and has since become a global storytelling tradition. Known for its deep ability to convey deep human emotions through powerful music and breathtaking performances, opera continues to evolve with time. Amongst its most iconic works is Carmen, the French opera composed by Ay, no sé cómo decir este nombre, Georges Bizet, that's very French, in 1875, which tells a passionate tale of love, jealousy, and freedom set in 19th century España, in Spain. Hola, welcome to Café con Pam, where we share our stories over cafecito. Ay, algo se cayó. Yo soy Pam, and we bring inspiring stories from first-generation Latinas and people of the global majority doing amazing things. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell, all the things so you never miss our cafecito time. Y bueno, for more incredible content, of course, listen to the podcast. El día de hoy, we explore La Carmencita. It's a bold tango adaptation of Carmen that reimagines the story through a modern Latin American lens. La Carmencita is set in a Buenos Aires cafe, and this production blends the rich rhythms of tango with Bizet's timeless themes, creating an intimate and culturally vibrant experience. El día de hoy, we are talking to four incredible artists who brought La Carmencita to life. Pedro Giraudo, a Latin Grammy winning composer and bassist. ¿Sí se dice así? Bassist? Ay, no sé. Whose tango adaptation gives the opera its soul-stirring rhythm. Sasha Gutierrez, the Colombian soprano and founder of the opera Next Door, who portrays the fiery lead role. José Luis Maldonado, a baritone known for his versatility, who steps into the role of Escamillo, o como dicen en Argentina, Escamillo. And Melissa Bonetti, a Dominican-American mezzo-soprano celebrated for her work in Latinx Latina storytelling. At the heart of this production is the Opera Next Door, an independent, Brooklyn-based opera company founded by Sasha Gutierrez, with a mission to bring opera into communities and create accessible, site-specific performances. The Opera Next Door is reshaping how audiences experience this timeless art form. So let's dive into the world of La Carmencita and hear from the incredible artists who made it possible. Aquí está mi entrevista. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for being here. ¿Cómo están?
Hola, Pam. ¿Todo
Hola, hola.
bien?
Muy
Buenas,
bien.
buenas.
How's rehearsals? So the play's in about a week. How are we feeling?
Yes. Excited. Very excited.
Amazing. And I love what you do. Pero bueno, vamos a llegar directamente a what we're going to talk about, which is Carmencita, which is the play that you are about to perform in a very short time. But let's backtrack a little because Carmen is one of the most performed operas worldwide, and you all did an adaptation. Entonces, the original is set in Spain, and you took it to Argentina. So, what I'm curious from each one, I'm curious to hear your perspective. How does this adaptation that you created challenge the traditional notions of opera? And then, how are you hoping that it translates for the audience by making it más Latino? Latina.
I'm going to ahead and answer this question. I think that something that we forget sometimes is that opera, even though it's a very old art form, it still has themes in it that are consequential to today's day and age. We have a lot of things that are relatable. And so the music is timeless and the story is timeless, even though we're talking about an art form that has over I don't know, at this point, like 300 years old. Um, and the fact that we moved it from Spain to Latin America was something very important to us because, as Latin Americans, we usually are not. Well, one thing is we don't see a lot of opera that is in Latin America. Everything happens in Europe. Some nowadays there's a lot of new stuff happening, but I think that taking this very famous piece and bringing it back home really gives it a new significance and a new added layer of what we can do with this piece. Also, one thing that was great was because we collaborated with Pedro, who's a wonderful tango performer. This is why we decided to go for Argentina, because it makes sense to bring this new piece that is going to be performed with a tango quartet to bring it to Argentina. So that makes total sense, I think.
Totally. Does anyone have any thoughts? Anyone else?
Well, maybe I can add, from the musical perspective, I think, um, adapting the music that was, written for a symphonic, actually fairly large symphonic orchestra, and adapted to a tango quartet. I think we kind of keep the essence of what the composer tried to convey with the music, and with music you kind of create an aura of what's happening around, and yeah, having the such a drastic change of instrumentation, I think, creates a lot of magic and kind of a new perspective on the kind of the aura that is being created. It kind of shines a different light when you hear a bandoneon instead of an oboe, or if you hear something rhythmic that instead of something very classical, sounds like the style of Osvaldo Pugliese, then something kind of like a very refreshing and new, and potentially also very moving, but in a different way, comes up.
I love that. Now, Jose, I have a question for you. You're performing Escamillo, and how do you bring a traditional character and reimagine it to be in Argentina, to bring the tango? How was that for you to make that shift and adaptation?
Oh, sure, sure. So originally, Escamillo is a toreador, is a bullfighter.
Hmm.
Now, this adaptation, I am just the king of film. I'm the Steven Spielberg. You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting. Now, I will give a lot of credit to this wonderful libretto that Sasha wrote, because it utilizes the same flavor of some of the French words with the Spanish words, but it's enough where it's its own entity. So instead of on God, like they say for the toros, on God, it's entra al cine,
Mm.
come into the theater. So it has a lot of that kind of homophonic similarity, but it's still its own entity. But at the same time, it's still the same spectacle. Votre
Mm.
toast. He's trying to have a toast with the bullfighters, but here, a brindar, amigos, a brindar, atención, todos. So that I thought was really interesting and made it a lot easier to facilitate just that change, because I think when it comes to opera, opera means work in Italian. Opera is to work, to operate,
Claro.
and so when it comes to adapting characters or just the opera in general with different languages, um, the the feelings are the same, right? The what's at risk is still the same. So I think for the goals of Escamillo, in this case, Argentina Escamillo,
Hmm.
it's important to still you have your objective. You still have the same love play where you fall in love with Carmen, and Carmen falls in love with you. But in this time, it's not just hey, I'm this. I think it's even better because it's not. I'm a great bullfighter. We'd make a great couple. This is like we share a commonality in art. It's with her talent, with my talent, we kind of even can understand each other at another artistic level, which is something very special for artists in general, right? Compared to being with around someone like my family that they can like music, but at a different level of the artistic level. If anything, this makes it more intricate, and I think all of that subtext and all of that work, it will exude in the show. We don't have to put it in your face, but you will feel it, and that's the beauty of the art that we have. in this
Mm,
type of art form. Porque la ópera is the sum of all arts. You know, it's scenic, it's auditory, it's acting, es todo.
es todo, totalmente. And I have a follow-up question for that, but I want to go to Melissa now. You have this very classical training. How was it for you to adapt it to tango?
So yeah, I actually grew up studying jazz and opera at the same time. So I actually throughout my career, I would go do residencies at different opera houses all over the states, and then I would do like jazz gigs on the weekends um, if I was not doing a performance at an opera house. And not that jazz is exactly tango by any means, but saying that I've been singing in a lot of styles for my whole life. So I think like this is the most exciting time to be an opera singer because we are having a lot of these examples where people are starting to fuse different genres together. And for me, like I live for diversity in every sense of the word, including within a piece, like how many different stories can we tell, how many different cultures can we draw from, how much different musical fusion and genre inspiration can we have. So I am not at all a tango expert. I've never sung any tango before. But in terms of like changing my vocal style, that's something that I'm very comfortable with, and I've been doing that for a long time. And so when Sasha was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a tango version," I was like, "Yes, I can be myself again and just have a little bit more freedom in my stylistic vocalization of the character." And so for me, that's my home for me.
The opera next door nació en en a, ¿cómo se llama? En las escaleras de tu casa, ¿no?
Those are stoops.
A stoop. Yeah. Entonces now La Carmencita is not going to be performed like that. How did that change and shift the dynamic? And I would love for you to speak on how the company is creating more access to opera, que is something that like I didn't grow up going to, and I'm sure a lot of our familia didn't either because it's very elitist. And
Mm.
so how is your work now shifting that narrative, and how did going from like performing in la calle casi to now shifting, how is that changing, if at all?
In la calle, literally.
So the Opera Next Door was born on a stoop in Brooklyn during the pandemic, and it was honestly kind of like an accident. We were not trying to build a company, but it kind of created itself when we decided to share our art, and especially this art form, with anyone who wanted to listen to it. We started hosting stoop concerts during the pandemic with my partner, and whenever he plays, especially Latin jazz, Afro Latin, and when they were playing and took a break, I would come out and sing some opera because that's what I do. And we realized people really stopped for the opera. Like they listen to jazz, I think, like because people are more used to the idea of New York and jazz kind of like merged together. Like it's equivalent. But when they heard an opera singer, they would stop because I think we well, people who are not close to musicians like us, they see us as this thing that's up there on the stage, that it's not accessible, that maybe it's a little far from reality. And it's part of our job to be able to create experiences that are going to take you to other places, and that you become kind of like this thing that's out there but no one can touch it. But we're real human beings, we're real people, we are not wealthy in any way. Like we're normal singers, normal people. And one thing that we realized is that there was a lot of interest. Even if they didn't understand the language, they'd be like, oh my god, that's incredible, do you really have to learn, train for it? And there's like a new curiosity when it comes to what an opera singer can do, how we train, how we build our lives based on this. This is a lifestyle. This is like like a doctor becomes a doctor, and that's a lifestyle. An opera singer is another lifestyle. And one thing that is very important for the opera next door is beyond making it accessible, which we already do by the fact that we are out there in the streets, is that we want to build community, and building community that is multi-generational, that it's diverse, and it's something that's very important to us. And eventually we will create the audience, that new diverse audience, like it's being created right now. But for us, the focus is to be able to create that community that will have different connections throughout long periods of time. Like we're going to have, um, yes, new opera fans, but also a better place where we are together. And so, even though we're going to Lincoln Center, which is a great honor for us as a small opera company that started out on the streets of New York, we will continue to be on the streets of New York as long as we are around.
I love it. Super fun. Pedro, one last question. How challenging was it to you to create this adaptation?
Very much so, but it was one of the one of those beautiful challenges. It was an opportunity for me to kind of get deeper into instrumentation, get deeper into tango, get deeper into the music of Bizet. He said, I mean, kind of going back a tiny bit to the idea of diversity. I mean, this is also back in the mid 19th century when this was written, or kind of more towards the end, where the kind of the Spanish sound was very exotic. This is a French composer kind of looking for that diversity and creating that, with the kind of quote unquote exotic sounds, for the time, with all that kind of Spanish flavored music. But going back, for me, it was beautiful, very enriching. It was incredibly time consuming. I mean, I worked from both kind of the reduced version, which on the piano, but also from the complete score, and it was definitely kind of a learning experience from many perspective, and I think, yeah, one of the top like three largest projects that I've been involved in my whole life.
That's
Was a
awesome.
lot of music, yeah.
Super fun. Well, thank you all so much for creating this awesome work. I think once I learned, I live in San Diego, so I'm very far from New York.
From
But
LA.
oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, West Coast.
And are you planning on bringing this type of work to the West Coast? I don't know if we have anything like that. This is very New York.
We
I can help.
I know we would love to. I mean, I'm sure Pedro would be down.
I
Yeah,
mean, they have
it would be.
Hispanos de LA Opera.
We would love to be able to tour this, as for as long as we were developing it. It's still, it's been a beautiful process for all of us. Like Pedro is talking all of what he's learned through all of this process. We've learned so much with the creation of this adaptation, and it will continue to develop as throughout the other times we are able to make it happen. And we can't wait to bring it to the West Coast and beyond, hopefully everywhere. So yeah, it would be a dream come true to be able to tour La Carmencita.
How fun. Well, keep us posted. And let us know where we can find you, all the places and spaces.
At the Opera Next Door on Instagram, and also our website, theoperanextdoor.org.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here and your awesome work and your incredible vocals. It's pretty awesome to see the videos. Can't wait to experience it IRL one day.
It'll be live streamed as well, right?
It will be live
Oh,
streamed. Yes.
nice. Okay,
So
well, let us know.
we'll definitely have the live stream. Not sure where the link is yet. I don't think it's posted, but you'll be able to find it.
4:30 Pacific time.
Okay. Yeah, please do let us know. We'll have that linked for sure. Awesome. Well, thank
Beautiful.
you so much.
Thank you, Pam.
Pam.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bueno, what do you think? I really want to watch La Carmencita now and explore the vast world of opera, porque why not? I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so, so much for being here. We have all the links in the show notes. Y bueno, aquí abajo en la descripción. Y bueno, until next time, stay grounded, stay connected y como siempre, sigue brillando. Nos vemos en nuestro próximo cafecito.
Sabrosura pa' ti que